the Miss USA 2022 finale recap. I'm Dani Walker, and if you're brand new to the channel, please consider subscribing and hitting that notifications bell. If you would like to support the channel in other ways, hit that super thanks button, visit the merch store, or share with a friend. All right, we're gonna start with the top of the show. We're gonna talk about their amazing outfits. I love their outfits, the music, all the dance. Hey.
What are you doing?
I'm just recapping the show. Do you need help?
I'm not even dressed. What do you?
Oh, you need help with your dress?
Yeah.
Okay.
I thought we were gonna recap it together.
Oh,
But yeah.
I thought,
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, ma'am. Help you. We can just cut this out.
Well, we're actually back and ready to start the recap. Brooke was getting a little bit ahead of herself. If you guys don't recognize my fabulous co-host, we have a special treat today for you. She was Miss Alaska USA 2018. This is Lana Johnson, and she's joining us for this special episode.
Elbow, elbow, wrist, wrist.
Look at her. And look, she's even in her dress. We're in our dresses, she's in her dress. By the way, if you're a pageant contestant preparing for a competition, check out the free pageant prep course, and it's linked in the description below. It's just for you. We're gonna start with the top of the show, all of our thoughts. We watched it right now together.
I loved the dance number. I thought it was really fun, really sexy, a lot of vibes. I don't know how much I love the bodysuits. I'm just so used to classic pageantry where there's a lot of cocktail dresses going on. But one thing I did love was that the bodysuits did match everybody's physique. Elle looked amazing. I love when
Elle
we
got
highlight
the full jumpsuit. I
Yeah.
like that she was in a different outfit. Yes, 100%.
Yeah, I love that they were headlining the lady going out like so well.
Loved the music. I loved the music changes that they had. One thing I'm really bummed out about is that we didn't have a live performer like we really did back in the days. I will say, when I went to Miss USA 2017, when Pitbull performed, it was a vibe. It was an energy. It was like you wanted to be there. The show was spectacular.
Backstreet Boys in 2016.
I don't care if I was here or sitting in the audience. I just don't think I would have had the same type of energy. But I like that when they announced the states that we had these slow-mo shots, they're very like Love Island-esque, where they're like, Alabama.
Yeah,
And
usually like for our
love
year,
it.
it was live when they announced our name. So I really do love
I love the slow-mo.
Like they did that for Universe maybe in 2010s, 11s.
Wait, no, they did because of COVID.
But like back in the day, like during like the Trump era.
Do you remember when they
change.
used to do it with when they would announce it, it was actually their national costume?
Yes. I think they should, if they're gonna do some more
Do the
changes,
state
they should wear their
costume.
state costumes. I think that would
For
be
the
so much fun.
introductions.
Yeah.
That is pageantry. It's like reimagined, or it's like just taking it back. It's like pageantry.
It's
retro.
like classic.
Yeah. First of all, I love Zuri Hall. I was literally looking out for her this year because I think that she did such an excellent job last year. I loved her energy. She sounded real. She sounded sincere. And I hate to say this, why is our host getting better styling than our outgoing title holders and our reigning title? I don't mean that in a rude way, but
She was standing.
She stood out this year. She stood out last year.
She stood
and
out.
my thing is, I have no problem with her standing out, but I want our queens to be equal, at least equal to the styling that the host is getting. So I don't know if she's getting that attention because maybe her agent called and was like, listen, my girl's gotta look good. Could I tell you one other single thing that this woman does or what's on her resume? Absolutely not. Aside from host Miss USA, what does Zuri Hall do? Where did she come from?
She's amazing.
The talent.
She should be a correspondent.
Who in the world were the correspondents?
I did not know who they were. And that's not their fault.
No, it's not their fault.
They're amazing. They're great. They did their job.
I'm sure they have their own careers and stuff, but
it's
in
like
the world of pageantry, we're not familiar. But in our group text with all of our other sister queens from our year, all of us were like, who? And look at having household names is powerful. Those people elevate your show, and that's a part of the production quality. And I feel like when we look at it, if we want to make it better, make it more elevated, a step backwards is incorporating people that nobody knows. A step forwards is bringing back household names.
What, in 2019, didn't Nick Lachey host Miss USA?
Oh, and then Vanessa, who was a former Teen USA.
Vanessa hosted 2018. Even like Lou in the pageantry world, everyone knows Lou.
Everybody knows Lou.
She was such a fun commentator to have.
After they did the opening number, they announced the top 16 in the show. And here is my issue with the overall production. This is where the contestants wore, and we got to see, the first impression outfit. And if you watched my episode where I talked about disappointing news for Miss USA, if you haven't, you can go back, watch it. I'm gonna link it right up here. If you saw it, we talked about this first impression outfit, and unfortunately the contestants were told to pack that outfit, but it was not until they arrived at Miss USA that they found out that that outfit would be used if you're called into the top 16, that's what you're wearing for the telecast. Some of the girls look like they're in cocktails. Some of them look like they're in fun fashion, and some are in interview. And some, I noticed, Kentucky, was wearing her arrival outfit, which I don't hate on that because she was doing the best that she could with what she had, the information that she had. No hate on that. But I'm just saying, imagine what they would have wore if you would have told them that that's what they were wearing if they're announcing
on national
the top
television.
16. That's not, no, I'm like, that's not okay. That's not nice.
No,
I wouldn't want that for you.
All 16 ladies walk to the front, stand in front of the stage, in front of the judges, and it's like Tinder for Miss USA.
It literally was.
Either you swipe left or right. How embarrassing is it to be cut out? Like, oh, here I am, I'm strong, amazing. No, but you just got the excitement of being called in the top 16, but you actually didn't do anything.
All of our friends that have competed in pageants will understand the excitement of being called into semifinals. And you will also understand that it is very difficult unless you knew you were placing, okay? Unless you really, really, really expected it, which you shouldn't ever take it for granted if you ever place in anything. But unless you know, it is very difficult to go from like, oh my gosh, I'm semifinals in Miss USA, to like,
bye. And
here I am, I'm gonna do my walk. There was nobody for me that was left out of the top 16 that I was absolutely shocked about. The ones that I could have seen up there: Arizona, Washington, Kentucky, Louisiana, Mississippi, New Jersey, and Massachusetts. Those were the 7 that for me, I could see it going either way for them, but my ultra faves, like if we're talking like Illinois, Nebraska, Texas, of course they made it.
Usually when you call the top 15, they call the top 15 and they show this thing called Ucaps, which is called Up Close and Personal. It's the interview that the Miss USA production does to talk about yourself, about your platform, whatever, and they piece together a cute little package for when you get called and it plays. This year, when you were called for the first impression, they played a clip of your personal interview.
I kind of liked the behind the scenes.
I didn't mind it, but it felt like it was kind of dragged. Like, they could have done this when they called them for the top 16.
Yes, you should have. Okay, do you guys remember back in the day when basically they would very quickly, they would call the name fast, and as she's walking up, the video plays. So she's walking to her spot, her video plays, she stands there till her video is done.
And then it goes,
next state, next state,
Arizona.
And that was such a great format that made sense for me. What I don't get is going from a 16 to a 12, which is a very small cut. You're gonna get rid of 4 based off of a split-second impression. That's what I was like, why? Yeah. I don't see a point of it in the show. For me, it didn't enhance the show. Moving right along to our swimsuit competition where all of our top 12 got to compete, let's talk about our thoughts for that. So starting with New Hampshire, I have the same note for her that I did in the preliminary competition. I will say that she's very facially beautiful. She looks great on stage. I just wanted her to have more posture.
I loved Kansas. My first impression of her when she was walking and everything that was going on, I was like, ooh, I feel like if she went to Miss Universe, like she could compete against like Colombia.
Texas. I also thought that this was a stronger performance than her prelims performance. I thought it was a lot cleaner, and that's what I was looking for in prelims.
She's a very beautiful, beautiful presence. I loved her in swim.
Tennessee, beautiful contestant, but I didn't feel like she was shining tonight, and that's just pageantry. There's nothing she did wrong, and I think that's an important point to get across to a lot of contestants. It's like sometimes you didn't do anything wrong, and there probably wasn't more than she could do, but it just so happens with certain lighting, hair, makeup, wardrobe, whatever it is, that somebody else ended up standing out more. North Carolina. Both of us. I always said this in prelims, but I felt it again for finals, her energy. Her energy for swim, I appreciated it, I loved it. Nebraska, when she did her turn in swim, I already loved her, but that little hair flip and turn was everything. For me, she was in my top 5 right then and there. Minnesota. We love her. She shines.
Loved her energy. She shined.
I could have seen her.
I
in the
loved
top
her
5.
performance. I progressed her to the top 5. I was really excited to see her in gown after she performed.
New Mexico, a lot of people are really, really big fans of her, and it's not that I didn't notice her at all. I just thought that other contestants would outperform her for finals, although she made the semifinals. I thought that her back was overarched for the beginning of it, and so I really wish that she would have pulled that in and it would have given her more posture on stage. Miss Ohio. To me, she is like my Miss Universe queen, honestly. Like, I could easily see her on the Miss Universe stage, but I was really upset that they cut off her swimsuit performance.
She could go up against South Africa at Miss Universe, because I was trying to think about the turnover rate on when Miss Universe is. Her walk was fire, and her height, she could compete.
The walk, the height, the face, the facials, it's all there.
Everything.
And then we have...
And she could walk down the stairs. The stairs were kind of hard this year, guys. She slayed the stairs.
She did.
She's the slayer of the stairs this year.
Vermont, she was giving me like American girl next door, very relatable. I loved her.
Illinois, the face. Every comment, when they would have a close up on her face, I was just like, she could win this purely off of her natural facial beauty, just her face.
Yeah, for me though, I will say, moving on to Connecticut, the thing that I think it was holding her back is I loved how she reacted and how sincere and genuine she was every time. I loved that. But as soon as she started her walk for swim, I felt that there was like quite a bit of tension in the neck as she walked, and you need to be relaxed. You gotta loosen up. Then there was a segment with Zuri Hall and with Elle. The moment Elle came out, who is better? You guys, her dress was not steamed. She's Miss USA. And maybe to people who aren't in like pageantry, that's not like a huge deal. But as contestants, we would take a lot of time to prepare our gowns, steam them, alter them, and make sure that they looked their best on stage. By the way, if any designer was showing a collection at Fashion Week, the pieces are all steamed. If any designer is showing a collection at market, trying to sell to stores to get them stocked, it's steamed. It's one of those things, and this is a live telecast. There's no reason that her dress should not have been steamed. And so that really, when I saw that, I was just hurt by that.
I just feel like she deserves so much more attention, that everything that she wore and did needed to be absolutely perfect. She's the queen.
You don't do that to
Steam
the
the queen's dress.
You don't do that to her. So our first to come out for gown was New Hampshire. She wore her same prelims gown, and this was designed by a Venezuelan designer. His name is Dije Galaviz. The gown is stunning. Great gown choice. But one of you, I cannot remember right now, thank you subscribers, was saying that the contestants have what you refer to as tech neck, and now that's what I want to say. It's because we're always down on our phones, so we're getting a lot of this like hunched neck effect. And so when I saw her, it was everything was very forward, like this, okay, versus very upheld, lots and lots of posture.
Love Kansas. And this is not anybody's fault.
The stairs conquered her.
Yes. But yeah, so the stairs were a little rough on some women today, and I just feel really bad because it really could have been prevented.
Yeah, it was rough. I think cut the stairs for the sake of making all of our contestants look better in the US, because it doesn't matter who wins at the end of the day. Overall, we are all representatives of our country, and people are watching around the world. So my goal is always make everybody look the best that they possibly can, especially during this once-in-a-lifetime event. If that means cutting stairs because people didn't come prepared, then that means cutting stairs. In an ideal world, would we make sure that everybody is prepared to walk down those stairs? Yeah, ideally, we would love to see that. We would love for everybody to be a stairmaster. But if that doesn't happen, then for the sake of making these ladies look as best as possible, cut the stairs and then really focus on that stair training with your winner before Miss Universe, because she should be prepared for whatever staging that they're going to give her.
When you compare it, I hope she puts this in somewhere.
I'll plug it in.
Miss Thailand this year, the production of this production.
You got to witness it.
Needs to be the standard, quite honestly. It's simplistic.
Yep.
The lighting, the camera angle, the way they walk, and it's like we're watching a movie, the way we're following them, the way that you don't see any shadows. I was really upset when I was watching prelims, that when they were panning the camera with the rig, you could see the shadow on on the stage.
In the US, we are
US.
not giving our contestants enough time. We're spending way more time on fillers in the show, on on backstage commentators. No, we want to see the contestants. These ladies deserve their time, and Thailand did it.
And Thailand did it. It was sultry, it was beautiful, it was glam, and it was simple. Why isn't this the standard for the US, where we have Hollywood, New York, Atlanta? We have all of the large studios. People come here to the United States to make it in the entertainment industry. Why is this not our standard is very confusing. And also, the music in Miss Thailand was amazing.
It hit.
And I'm very confused why they were playing the funeral music for Miss USA during Gown.
We don't know what happened.
No offense to this amazing pianist. But with the music and the vibe of the show, why were we playing funeral music?
Let's talk about more of the contestants. So, Texas. She also struggled with the stairs. Nobody was I don't want to say nobody, but a lot of contestants were struggling with this, even our winner. But I will say, I did love the gown change. I thought it was a great gown change. I found out that Ryan Fernandez, a Filipino designer, designed her prelim gown, so I'm kind of guessing that he also would have done her finals gown.
I think her swim performance was actually a lot better than her gown performance.
I would agree with that.
I was really sad that no one was getting serenaded during gown. Usually that happens.
We were very sad that nobody got a serenade during gown. That's
Such
such
a rite
a
of passage.
special moment, and honestly, it was something that I always dreamt of if I were to place in semifinals at Miss USA. Next for gown, though, was Tennessee, and I really feel like this was a deserving performance. I thought that she did a fantastic job here, even with the stairs. Overall, it was solid for me. For Nebraska, she wore the same gown. I really wanted her to change her gown, but I will say she got her moment. She got her pose that I wish that she would have had in prelims, and for me, in this moment, she came back. She bounced right back into my top 5. Not like she wasn't already in my top 5, but I was worried about her up until I saw her for gown finals. Minnesota. Great job, Maddie. Great job.
Killed the stairs.
You were my stair master of the night. Did you guys notice? She didn't take a single look down. And
wow.
I wish that
I would have taken a look down.
Yeah, I think I would have too.
I would have taken a look down.
Yeah,
she applaud.
New Mexico. I love. Look, it's not that I didn't love her. That's not the thing. I just had a feeling other people were gonna outperform on the night, and I felt that that's what happened. It's another case of like, you did nothing wrong.
Ohio.
My note for her was, what did I say? And that was in reference to me referring to Brooke, because I told Brooke earlier when I watched prelims, I was like, everybody's not paying attention to Ohio. I don't think she's getting the respect that she deserves. I'm obsessed with her. I think she's an amazing performer. And then you saw it.
I think she won gown. She won
Yes!
swim. She
Yes!
worked the stairs. She worked that dress. I hadn't seen pink on a stage that
Since
was that
Olivia
memorable
Jordan.
since Olivia Jordan. I was like,
2015.
This pink gown,
2015.
amazing on her skin color. She worked that gown. I said, I'm done.
You saw it.
Top
You
5.
saw it.
Her face, every time they zoom into her face,
It's everything. Next we have Vermont, and I have to say, she shined. Weirdly enough, like, it was a very simple gown, which many of you have been requesting more of, interestingly enough. She shined in it. She did even better in prelims for me in finals for me than she did in prelims.
Illinois. I love Illinois.
We both do.
I have been rooting for Illinois
Same.
like for the past few days.
Yep.
And I'm just like, please, honey, please work it, you got this.
She needs to go to Grand.
I love her. She should go to Grand.
She needs to go to Grand. She's got the face, she's got
her face, her
styling.
presence. Her styling
They
all
will
week.
love her at Grand.
That white jumpsuit she wore, beautiful.
And then we have Connecticut, and it was another case, beautiful contestant. Nobody really does a bad job once you get to like a top 16 at Miss USA. That's not a thing.
No one does bad.
No, but there were just other contestants that at that point I would have been scoring higher. If I was only scoring strictly on gown, and this is usually how I score when I judge. I judge everything very independently because I believe in a rightful winner winning. And so it's very hard for me, but no matter how much I love a contestant, whatever your performance was in swim, that's what you're going to get. Like, whatever your performance was in gown, that's what you're going to get. Even if you were my favorite swimsuit performance, for me, that's not bumping up your evening gown score. my top 5 highest scorers for gown were Ohio, Nebraska, Minnesota, Illinois, and Vermont. What pulled Texas out of my top 5 gown performances was the stairs.
Yeah.
It affected
caught
the
her up.
entire first half of her performance, and I can't pretend that didn't happen.
One thing that really disappointed Brooke and I was the Chesley segment. At Chesley's Celebration of Life, MUL and Paula Shugart put together a really beautiful video montage dedicated to Chesley that was about 2 to 3 minutes. We thought they might have played that for the show. We were just very surprised that they only put a photo of her on stage. We thought that they were at least going to put together a montage for her. It was extremely short, and we believe that Chesley and her legacy deserved more.
Now we have our top 5, and frankly, I don't even want to give any time to the questions that they asked the contestants, which are more like your warm-up questions.
What do you think about the setup?
Thoughts? I actually don't mind the setup that much. I think it takes a lot of the pressure off of the onstage question because first they relax you. You're in a group setting. You're more like with your girlfriends. It's like, look at us having a little chat together, because I feel like sometimes that'll give contestants a better opportunity to breathe, to feel more like themselves and have an even better answer to a challenging question. So I like that what it does is it disarms them. I didn't feel that I learned very much about any of the contestants or that there was much value beyond using it as a warm-up.
So for Nebraska, the judge asked her, "You're in the early stages of your professional life. In 2022, why do some women still face equity and equality issues in hiring, especially in traditional male-dominated fields?"
Her answer was, "From my experience as well as a lot of research I've done into women in higher professions, a lot of the potential and talent of females continues to be neglected and fails to be recognized. A lot of the reasons being is because of a subconscious neglect for women, still regarding women as less than, and as a corporate attorney, I'm going to continue to pave the way for the avenue of specifically female attorneys after me. Thank you." Very, very strong answer here in my opinion. The way that I would have adjusted it is instead of really niching down and saying that I'm going to pave the way specifically for female attorneys like me, it should have just been a more general message of I'm going to pave the way for other
All
females pursuing careers in male-dominated industries.
And I think, honestly, overall, after listening to all the top 5, I think she probably had the best
I love the answer.
overall answer out of all the contestants.
Loved it.
Illinois' question was, voters your age have become quite vocal about age limits for elected officials. Are placing age limits, young or old, on any profession ethical?
She said, "I absolutely do not think that it is ethical. I think that anyone, no matter your age, no matter your race, no matter your gender, I'm a champion of inclusivity and of diversity, and I think that anyone and everybody should have the opportunity to go after and pursue all of their wildest dreams. And so I absolutely do not believe that it is ethical."
First of all, I don't like that question at all.
The way
'cause
that it was worded.
Sounds like it's asking...
Primarily a political question.
Yeah, and I also wonder if they were I wonder if it was a roundabout question about like age limits for Miss USA.
My thing was, is it just a general question about ageism? Is that the hot topic we're on?
Because I'm like, why didn't you just ask? I don't know. I didn't like how that question was worded at all.
Yeah, I didn't like it either because we went from politics and elected officials to a
profession.
to a general question about age limits, young or old, or any profession.
And then if it's ethical?
So we went from elected officials to anything.
Okay, Tax's question was, global study indicate that women are increasingly seen as more vulnerable to the impacts of climate change. You were asked to create a task force to help address this issue. What is your first priority? And then there was a little confusion, so then
she asked for clarification.
She asked for clarification.
After she got clarification, she said, yes. Well, I think there is ways we can implement addressing climate change within our careers or our lifestyle. It's as easy as adding a recycle bin to your house. Everybody can do that. Or being creative in ways you can also implement it in your job. I'm a fashion designer. I actually made the outfit I'm wearing and I upcycled pieces and recycled different clothing to be more sustainable in my industry because I feel like it's my duty. So I think that's something we can all look for. Ways in our certain industry or in our homes to be more sustainable as well.
I really liked how she diverted the question to herself, because that's kind of one thing we learn in interview, is that even if the question has to do with anything, you have to find a way to relate it to herself. So she was actually very, very smart to talk about how she's a fashion designer, and she was able to speak about that so we know more about her. So smart.
I really liked it. And then North Carolina.
Should influencers be required by law to disclose whether they're being paid or actually use the products and services they provide?
She said, I'm not sure it should be required by law to provide that information. I think that if you're following an influencer, you choose to follow them and you believe the things that they're posting are things that they truly love, and hopefully content creators out there share things that they do truly use and would buy with their own hard-earned money, and those are influencers that I choose to follow. Safe answer. I agree with her.
Like the question
I didn't really like it either because it also showed an unawareness that, so FYI for everybody, content creators can be demonetized if we do not share or disclose that there is an ad in our episode or that we've been paid to talk about a product. And so, and even brands, when I do brand collaborations, they tell me that before anything can be posted and before it goes through an approval process, that I have to disclose that it's sponsored, it's an ad, or you have to say something like that. So although it's not technically a law yet, platforms are basically requiring it and brands are requiring it. So it just seems like, why are you asking
There's
that?
always like one question each year that I feel like is a waste, and we didn't actually get to learn anything about North Carolina. And it would have been such a good, some questions sometimes questions you can't divert necessarily. She did a great job. I just really don't like the question, and I feel it was kind of a waste. But
and then Ohio.
Representation in entertainment is under a microscope lately. I think it is just so funny, by coincidence, that she drew this question as being the black woman.
I thought
in
the
top
same
5.
thing too. I was like, what are the chances?
What are the chances?
It was just interesting.
From colorblind or non-traditional casting in live action movies to musicians playing historical instruments, why is there so much pushback on representation? By the way, the musical instruments is because Lizzo at her last performance played like James Madison's like crystal flute that's never been played ever, and Twitter was very angry about it, and that is, I think, why they're asking that question. I also don't like how that was formed,
because you would have to really, really, really be in the know, and they weren't obvious about exactly what event that they're talking about.
No.
I understood the reference to the live action movie castings. That's been on the news a lot with the new Ariel movie. And I think that when you get questions like this, the expectation in it, that's even a part of the challenge.
The question itself is interesting because it's like, why is there pushback to put more of Black and Indigenous people of color in more media?
Right, yeah. Why is there pushback?
Well, because
why is there pushback?
Why is there pushback?
So let's say her answer first, though. Let's share what she said. Hold on. So she said, I think as a country we have to take the time to understand that we are United States of America. In order for us to be united, we have to stand with one another. And yes, we are pushing back. But in order to become united, we have to change the trajectory of the different platforms that we see. And that's getting comfortable with being uncomfortable. First of all, I felt like she cut her own answer short.
I think she had to.
Timing.
No.
Two.
No, the only reason is because there's like one answer to this question.
I know what you're going to say.
Racism. That's the
answer.
There's pushback because of racism. And she had to put her answer in a little pretty bow, and that's why I really don't like this question, because
it puts you in a box with your
answer.
It just so happened that I agree with you, because we're thinking the same answer, that she, in the nicest way possible, I think, did not want to say what was on everybody's mind.
I mean, she couldn't. I wouldn't have.
It's hard. You guys, it's
Ohio,
very, very
you
difficult.
did great.
Yeah, you did fantastic.
Honey, black woman to black woman, you did exactly what you needed to do. Thank you.
Yeah.
But I see you. I see you. The question should have been, how do we add more representation in all spaces to push back the racism that is happening in America? That would have been the correct question.
Because then she could have
elaborated.
She has room to elaborate and say, here are my thoughts and my opinions on this. Here's what we can do, what I believe that we can do.
And honestly, anyone of any background could have answered that and elaborated and related to their own personal culture.
So our results were Fourth runner-up, Illinois. Third runner-up, Ohio. Second runner-up, Nebraska, which, by the way, Nebraska also won Team USA, so just shout out. Team Nebraska did very well this year.
Fan Bros did great
This year. Yes.
Mm-hmm.
And then we have first runner-up, North Carolina, and our queen was Texas. Okay, so my thoughts were that, honestly, nobody bombed their onstage answer. Nobody bombed anything that was said. There were no cringe moments. I think they all handled themselves very, very well. So when that happens in a pageant, I think the judges just went with, okay, here was my favorite before the questions were asked. Here was my favorite before prelims. I felt that everything was pretty consistent. Going into this pageant, though, we had the same thoughts, which was...
This was Texas's to lose. She was put in a position to where she could go all the way as long as she performed at her very best. And so after she answered, I was like...
It felt like her year.
It felt like her year. Yeah.
Texas, I think, went in as the winner and came out as the winner.
Yeah.
Which doesn't always happen. Now, the last thing we're going to talk about is crowning, because we had some thoughts.
The production of crowning had absolutely no suspense. Dani, when they cut back from commercial and we were watching crowning about to happen and all the 5 girls were holding hands, she was just like, I'm just like not excited.
No,
like
I didn't get the hype.
And we're gonna put in here where
Side to side
when Chesley won,
same venue,
same venue. So this is fair comparison.
Very fair.
The production. Remember earlier we were talking about Miss Thailand. The production, the suspense, the drama, everything. When Chesley was crowned and there was North Carolina, New Mexico holding hands, it was a moment in time. The world had stopped. It became quiet and you heard the They speak really slow.
Suspense is
the suspense. And you know what? When they call her, they say, and your new Miss USA is... This year, they said 5th place, 4th place, 3rd place. And then they're holding hands, Elle's sitting there. But honestly, it looked very state pageant. Like the way that this set up was state pageant. So there's Elle standing in the middle, and they say in 2nd place is...
And Elle's face was right in between them. So wait. Hold on.
She was so fun. I loved her face though.
Did you guys see North Carolina goes, and then they said it. They just said it. Whatever, 2nd place.
2nd place!
And I was like, oh, okay, that was just...
Oh my god!
Okay.
Crown me!
I'm out of here. I'm out. Wow, Elle put your crown on? No Miss Universe to help with the crowning?
Like, there was zero suspense. There was zero drama.
And I don't like...
I was so upset.
And you have to remember that this is always the clip that they replay of you when you go on your media week. So that's what's going to happen is when they replay that clip, the clip is going to say, and second place is North Carolina.
Not Miss USA.
No, and
2022 is Texas!
What?
Come on, guys. That was so easy to get right.
What?
There was so many great. I mean, the show started so great. That was the one thing that you just needed to do.
You have to get it right. You have to get the crowning right.
It's a rite of passage.
We don't understand because, hello.
It kind of reminds me of those state pageants that don't want to do a top 5, so they all hold hands. And they call third runner-up
out.
And then it's like, and the winner is Becky. And you're holding like 5 hands.
There's like 10
That's what they did with Elle. I didn't like Elle's crowning
I didn't like
either.
that. I wanted the top 2.
Top 2.
So we got the top 2 back.
Overall,
we're happier we got some of the changes.
We
just want more.
We want more. And you know what? This is Crystal's first full year of having the pageant. So you know what? We hope that in the future and that next year we'll
I think that there was a lot of stuff that improved. And the last thing I will say that is something you don't see too often in pageantry. We weren't there. We weren't contestants. I'm just going to say this. Take this as you will. Typically, when a title holder wins shortly after, all the contestants...
Insert Chesley's crowning.
Insert Sarah's.
Hello? Sarah's. Anybody's, quite honestly.
Anybody. Usually when she's announced, everybody runs up to her after. And the really interesting thing is that this year, if you notice, that people ran up to the runners-up, and the people that just seemed to congratulate our new Miss USA were the 3 hosts of the show. So
That was interesting.
I'm not a contestant. I wasn't there. But it is something really, really interesting and rare that you see in pageantry.
Did you see it? Comment below if you saw what we were talking about.
Anyways, thank you so much for joining us. I really hope that you enjoyed our special guest today. Please be sure to follow Brooke, by the way. She's an actress in LA, so follow her career post-pageantry. Super proud of her.
Thank you.
Brooke, what's your Instagram handle?
At the Brooke J.
So give her a follow. And of course, please, if you haven't already, consider subscribing, hit the notifications. And if you want to see now any of my other content regarding Miss Universe, because now it's time, we're really getting to that Miss Universe time, then yeah, we're trying to go. Stay tuned. Then check out these other episodes that I'm going to link as well. Please enjoy them. But thank you so much for joining us for this one. Bye.